don't expect by no means for y'all to like check Spice over me, but it's just sometimes it's just like, all right, come on now. Like, you know, that's a little too far. That's too much.
You know Rasheda laugh at every thing. That ain't no excuse.
I know you ain't 11 bitches. It was the wrong type of push.
My feelings was a little hurt too because I'm like, I have real love for Bambi.
I really do apologize. I really do hate that had to be that.
Look, all these situations in this group,
was saying that she had wanted me and Bambi to talk at the party, but there was so much going on. So she's supposed to be bringing her by. I was totally thrown by Bambi's diss record. Bambi was like family, bro. And now it's like some weird ass going on, which makes you think about where your friendships lie.
Look in my hip, walk, yeah, I got that strut.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Hey, thank you, darling.
I'm scared to come in here. Hey, Kirk.
Do we need to stay 11 feet apart? What do we need to do?
Hey, let me give you a hug, okay? Let me just,
Lord have
let me just start off with that. There's been a lot said about the situation between me and the Frost. I don't know, like I really do consider them family on some level. And I feel like right now I need to just address it and let them know what time it is from my perspective. Hi, y'all. I've been missing the bistro. Y'all know this my spot, for real.
Well, bro, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie, mama feelings don't get hurt easy. It don't. It got to be people that I care about. I really don't have no beef with the Frost. My thing is the Frost was standing in this group that was laughing at some Spice said.
Bambi have 11 listeners on Spotify.
Ooh, girl, I'm finna go.
Like, no, what are we talking about here?
Like, we supposed to be cool and you laughing at a joke that was like a real dig. I'm like, okay, well, let me talk about all the 11 y'all got going on. But if this made them feel bad, I feel bad about it. I don't expect by no means for y'all to like check Spice over me, but it's just sometimes it's just like, all right, come on now. Like, you know, that's a little too far. That's too much.
You know Rasheda laugh at every thing. That ain't no excuse.
I know you ain't 11 bitches. It was the wrong type of push.
My feelings was a little hurt too because I'm like, I have real love for Bambi.
I really do apologize. I really do hate that had to be that.
Look, all these situations in this group, it has went up. Like, Bambi has been up.
And that's my point. I'm like,
with
listen,
people, I'm like, this ain't finna get like this. Y'all can talk about it.
I'll take my cut though. Whenever you want to take us out to eat, once you get some bread, you know, off that record, you can say, well, let me take y'all out.
And what you don't know, though, last year, I was on the phone with Spice, and I said, I'm going to call Bambi, and let's squat. I like Bambi song, the jamming. And
no, you
me
did.
And Kirk, I said I like Amy's song and I like Bambi's song. Me and Kirk was telling her, your ass is gonna put this album out because you are not about to play with your money. You know what I'm saying?
To me, it was brought back to me like y'all was telling her like just take her off then and just keep going.
No,
I have to kind of like take some steps back and understand like how we all got to navigate in this group.
And
you know
how
what I'm
we move
saying?
Around, right. One thing that me and Spice have been talking about is the fact that like she's always on the defense because she always feels as though it's an attack thing.
I love both of y'all. Y'all my friend for a lot of years.
Right.
It's
period.
like peaceful in my brain.
You know? Period. Life be mother just swerving.
And I ain't even get to say congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You getting married?
Yes, I am.
Do y'all have plans on when yet or not?
No, we don't have no plans on when and what's gonna happen, but I'm absolutely getting married.
I heard that.
Like every that I dated, they want to get married. It's just him that it was just something a lot different about with Ray. Things went from the promise ring and then it's the real thing, like real quick. But one thing about an engagement is that it's a trial period. And if I see some stuff happening that I don't like, then I'll pause. And then if it's going how I want it to go, then I'll go with it. But for right now, I'm just going to take it one day at a time and I'm going to have fun.
You ready already?
Nobody could have predicted how far things would spiral that night in Atlanta, but the streets are talking, and the love and hip-hop cameras caught every second of it. It all started in a room full of people who claimed to be friends, but the energy was shifting in ways nobody could ignore. There was tension, old wounds, unspoken grudges, and deep-seated insecurities bubbling under the surface. What should have been a casual night of drinks, music, and conversation turned into one of the most shocking physical confrontations the cast had ever witnessed. all because of one moment of disrespect that cut way too deep. Bambi had been going through a lot lately. Away from the glitz and flashing cameras, her life had been hitting her with one setback after another. She had been opening up about her struggles. Not just for sympathy, but because she thought she was among people who could relate, people who understood the grind and the pressure of balancing personal life, relationships, and a public image. But the sad truth was, in a room like this, not everyone listens to understand. Some listen just to judge. Bambi began sharing a story about her recent struggles, something deeply personal that she had never really unpacked publicly before. She spoke about the sacrifices she'd made, the disappointments she'd endured, and the way it felt like she was always fighting twice as hard to get half the respect. But instead of empathy, or even quiet respect, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Kirk and Rasheda sitting just across from her, stifling laughter. At first, she tried to brush it off. Maybe she was imagining it, maybe the smirks weren't about her, but then it became undeniable. Kirk leaned into Rasheda, whispered something, and they both broke into that kind of laugh that's too sharp, too unfiltered to be innocent. Rasheda covered her mouth, eyes darting toward Bambi, while Kirk just grinned like he had the best seat in the house. That was the moment everything inside Bambi shifted. It wasn't just about this one moment, it was the history, the sly comments, the constant judgment, the way Rasheda always seemed to subtly remind Bambi of her past, as if she wasn't allowed to grow beyond it, the way Kirk acted like everyone else's relationship drama was a circus to watch, while conveniently ignoring the years of mess in his own marriage. That silent mockery was the final straw. Bambi's chest tightened as her heart pounded, her vision narrowed. The noise in the room dulled, leaving only the echo of their laughter ringing in her ears. She wasn't just embarrassed, she was furious. And in that split second, Bambi decided she wasn't going to sit there and let anyone, especially Rasheda and Kirk, treat her like a punchline. She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping the floor, instantly drawing the attention of everyone in the room. The air shifted as conversations froze mid-sentence. People could feel it coming. That stormy energy that only shows up when years of bottled-up tension finally find an escape route. Rasheda, still seated, looked up with a mix of confusion and a hint of smugness, as if daring Bambi to say what was on her mind. But Bambi didn't start with words. She stepped right toward Rasheda, her movements sharp and deliberate. The room went from loud to deadly quiet. Cameras zoomed in, crew members subtly moving in position, knowing this was about to be one of those moments. The kind of moment that would have social media on fire by morning. Bambi's voice finally cut through the silence, low and trembling with controlled rage, as she called out exactly what she'd seen. The whispers, the smirks, the laughter at her pain. Rasheda tried to play it off, insisting she hadn't meant anything by it, but the damage was already done. Bambi's feelings were raw, and that type of hurt doesn't wait for explanations. The tension between them had been brewing for seasons, but it had always stayed just under the boiling point. Tonight, it overflowed. As Rasheda tried to stand up, maybe to defuse the situation, or maybe to hold her ground, Bambi closed the distance. What happened next felt like slow motion to everyone watching. Bambi lunged, her hands finding Rasheda before anyone could stop her. Gasps echoed through the room as the two women collided, knocking into a nearby table and sending drinks spilling onto the floor. Chaos erupted instantly. Kirk jumped up, trying to wedge himself between them, but Bambi was locked in. Years of subtle digs, eye rolls, and quiet shade came pouring out in that one explosion of energy. Rasheda struggled to push her back, her voice raised now, but the damage had already been done, both physically and emotionally. Security rushed in, trying to separate them, but the shouting wouldn't stop. Rasheda's wig was slightly shifted, her jewelry tangled, and Bambi's adrenaline was still pumping like wildfire. The rest of the cast stood frozen, some looking shocked, others looking like they had been waiting for this to happen. When they finally got them apart, the aftermath was almost as intense as the fight itself. Bambi was pacing, breathing heavily, her eyes still locked on Rasheda with a glare that could cut glass. Rasheda, straightening her outfit, tried to keep her composure, but her voice carried that shaky edge of someone who'd just been humiliated on camera. The producers scrambled to figure out how to move forward. Some people tried to calm Bambi down, reminding her that this would blow up online, that the blogs would twist it, that she was giving people exactly what they wanted. But Bambi didn't care. In her mind, she had been disrespected in one of the worst ways possible, mocked for her vulnerability. And for her, that was a line you just don't cross. The fallout didn't stop when the cameras cut. Word of the altercation spread faster than anyone could contain it. By the time the night ended, clips and whispers were already making their way onto social media. Fans took sides immediately. some defending Bambi for standing up for herself, others criticizing her for taking it too far. Memes popped up. Hashtags started trending, and both women posted vague messages to their Instagram stories, fueling even more speculation. But underneath the headlines and messy Instagram posts, the truth was clear. This wasn't about just one night or one laugh. This was about years of strained friendships, buried resentment, and unspoken competition. It was about the delicate balance of alliances in a world where loyalty is tested every day and betrayal is just a look away. For Bambi, the fight was more than a heated moment. It was a statement, a warning to anyone who thought they could treat her like she was beneath them. And for Rasheda, it was a reminder that not everyone will take her brand of shade with a smile. The next episode promised fallout like never before. Private conversations turning into confrontations, cast members being forced to pick sides, and both Bambi and Rasheda being faced with the question of whether their feud had just crossed the point of no return. But one thing was certain, after that night, nothing between them would ever be the same. And as for Kirk, his role in it all wasn't going unnoticed. Viewers were already calling him out for instigating the situation, for laughing when he could have spoken up, for letting things spiral just to sit back and watch the explosion. His smirk might have been quick, but the impact was long-lasting, not just on the show, but in the real-life relationships that held this cast together by the thinnest of threads. Atlanta had seen its share of drama, but this was the kind of messy, unpredictable chaos that keeps people glued to their screens. And as the city buzzed with gossip, one thing was clear: the fight between Bambi and Rasheda wasn't just a scene in a reality show. It was a real-life boiling point that had been years in the making.